The Bengals defense has plenty to prove in their preseason game against the Commanders, and in this video, I'll explain the one starter who should be playing harder than anybody else. Hi again, Bengals fans. John Sheeran of A to Z Sports Cincinnati here, and this is the culmination of the preseason and training camp for the majority of players who are going to make the team this year. This is week 2 of the preseason. You're going to see the starters out on the field against the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football for most, if not the entirety, of the first half, including Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the usual suspects on offense. It's going to be exciting to see Burrow play the most action he's ever had in a single preseason game on Monday, but we already saw what this offense is clearly still capable of going up against the twos of the Philadelphia Eagles last week. It'll still be fun to see Burrow and his receivers march down the field against the Commanders, but that's not really where my focus is right now. This week in particular has me thinking about a former Bengals player by the name of Shawn Williams. Now, for the longtime fans, and when I say long time, I mean before the Joe Burrow era, you remember Shawn Williams from the 2010s era of the Bengals. He was drafted in 2013, and he basically rode the bench for the first 2 years of his career before he started seeing time on the field at safety for the defense. And he ended up churning out a pretty decent career for a third-round pick. He started for a handful of years. He got a nice second contract in the 2016 offseason, and even if the Bengals weren't exactly good overall or on defense for the majority of those years, he was still a quality player that was worth keeping around. But the arc of Shawn Williams was that he had to earn playing time on defense largely through special teams. He was a special teams savant during his first 2 years under special teams coordinator Darren Simmons, and that work gradually earned him trust to see time on defense when he was needed at the safety position. And I'm thinking about Shawn Williams right now because I see something similar potentially occurring with Tycen Anderson. Who is Tycen Anderson? Well, he was a 5th-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Bengals traded up 8 spots to take him out of the University of Toledo, where he was a special teams captain, ace, whatever adjective you want to describe. He did it all on special teams for Toledo. But he did miss the majority of his first 2 years in the NFL due to injury. He suffered a hamstring injury before the 2022 season, and he tore his ACL in the middle of his 2023 season. Last year in 2024 was the only time he played a full 17-game schedule, and he finished second on the team in special team snaps, but he finished first in special teams tackles. The sample size is not as large as the Bengals would want it to be, but in the time that he has played special teams, he's definitely looked the part. The problem is he's basically never seen the field on defense in the regular season. He only has 1 snap to his name in his 3-year NFL career, but he's played over 300 in the preseason. And he's about to play a lot more preseason snaps in these next 2 weeks because he's slated to start for Geno Stone at free safety against the Commanders. The reason why Anderson is playing for Stone is because Stone suffered a hamstring injury against the Eagles. He's officially week to week, which potentially puts his week 1 status in jeopardy, but there's definitely hope that he can return by that time. After all, there's still a full 3 weeks left until the regular season begins. And yet, Stone is an interesting name here because earlier this offseason, the Bengals asked him to take a pay cut because he didn't particularly perform well last year in Luna Rumo's last year as defensive coordinator. This offseason has been a lot more promising. He seems to be a lot better fit in Al Golden's scheme. But under Anarumo, you never really saw safeties being rotated in unless it was absolutely necessary, when of course it was last year when both Von Bell and Geno Stone were struggling and they needed Jordan Battle to get some reps on the field. And that was of course the same case in 2023 when Nick Scott was underwhelming and they needed Battle on the field as a rookie that season. Philosophically, I don't think Al Golden is that much against rotating safeties in and out when it fits the scheme. But of course, the issue with Anderson is that he just doesn't have a lot of actual game experience outside of the month of August. But giving him reps with the starters against a quality offense in the Commanders, that could leave a lasting impression on potentially changing that going forward. And again, Stone was a potential cap casualty this offseason. It wasn't a guarantee that he was still going to be around. If they like what they see with Tycen Anderson, albeit in a very small sample size, I think it could open the conversation for potentially him playing over Stone if it comes down to it later this season, if Stone were to happen to repeat his 2024 performance. Shawn Williams ended up helping the Bengals replace Reggie Nelson, who left following the 2015 season. That's why he got that extension in 2016, and he became the new partner for George Iloka in the back half of that defense. And now you have Anderson entering a contract year where he's a known commodity on special teams. He's had success in the preseasons before. He had a pick 6 all the way back in 2023 against the Green Bay Packers, so they clearly still like what he can do in that position once he gets chances. And this is a huge chance for him to prove to a new defensive coordinator what he can do when his name is called. I'm not saying Anderson is going to be the next Williams, but I am saying this whole situation takes me back a little bit. So when a starting Bengals defense with already a ton to prove takes the field on Monday night, look out for number 26 because he himself has plenty to prove as well.